Welcome. You're watching Politics HQ. Let me turn attention tonight to the heated debate surrounding the state policing or state police in Nigeria. The Lagos State House of Assembly has joined the chorus of voices calling for its establishment, claiming it's crucial to tackling the country's escalating security challenges. Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly is Mudashiru Obasa, and in his response during plenary yesterday, Monday, to the rising insecurity in Nigeria, called on the nation's National Assembly to commence urgent constitutional amendment to allow for the creation of state police. Now, but we're asking tonight, is state police really the silver bullet? And what are the potential risks and rewards of implementing it? Well, I guess tonight, Olufemi Lawson, Executive Director, Center for Public Accountability. So Lawson, it's good to have you on the program. Good evening.
Good evening.
Do you believe that state police is the solution to Nigeria's insecurity? If yes, why? If no, why?
Well, thank you for having me. State police is not just a necessity, as the case may be now. It is also important that we understand that some of the challenges of insecurity being faced by this country today can be attributed to the fact that, despite, practicing a federal system as claimed and as professed by our constitution, we are not truly operating a federal system of government. We have a situation whereby power remains over-concentrated at the center. National security remains on the exclusive list of the federal government. And in a truly federal state, just like the case in other democracies all over the world, it is expected that we would practice the state policing system, which is one, of course, it may not be a total way out of insecurity in any society, but it will fundamentally address the question of insecurity, particularly as it relates to our situation in Nigeria today, where in most cases, we have to wait for directive from the federal authorities, from the national security organizations, before actions can be taken in tackling local insecurity across the state. So for me, it's long overdue, and it is in line with the true spirit of federalism, which we claim to be practicing as a country.
All right, Tim. So let's look at the potential benefits. What would you say are the potential benefits of having, state policing in the country?
Ultimately, the biggest, essence of having state policing in the country is to decentralize the capacity of our security agencies, particularly the police, to tackle insecurity in the country. Today, as we speak, as powerful as the Lagos state government looks like, a governor who is in charge of the largest economy in the country, who is in charge of the largest perhaps population in the country, in a state, and some other cannot even post or deploy a divisional police officer even in a remote part of Lagos State because the Constitution does not allow. So the benefit, the implication is that if there are challenges in any local community, no matter how small or how serious such challenges are, the chief security officer, so to call, who is the state governor, or the institution of state that is primarily responsible to protect the lives of the citizens and cater for their welfare, have no authority whatsoever in dictating what should be the security of the citizens of that state. So beneficially, when we have state police, we have, it does not in any way, put an end to the operation of the federal policing system, of course, like it is in other democracies. It only allows for a section of the security to be under the control of the state to the extent that when there is no access to the federal security organizations, the state can easily deploy its own security resources to tackle the question of insecurity. And that is one fundamental thing that is missing. And that is why it is very crucial at this point in time that we look at the benefits that this will attract, as far as, of course, the security situation in the country is concerned, than, of course, whatever defects some people may be trying to attribute
Okay.
to the possibility of the effectiveness of the state policing system in Nigeria.
All right. So Mr. Lawson, you're talking about the federal police and the state police, if it comes to be, existing side by side. Where will the powers of the state police or federal police end? Where will the powers of the state police start and end? How will this work?
Well, fundamentally, the creation of the federal police is a creation, the federal police rather, is a creation of the Constitution. And the state police will also be a creation of the Constitution. So the Constitution stipulates whatever becomes the power of the state police, the federal police, or the local police authorities, as the case may be. No security organization can exist on the dictate of maybe the president or the governor, as the case may be. Take, for instance, the creation of the Western Security Network, the Amotekun. Even though it was an initiative of the Western state governors, the Southwest state governors, you realize that the various states have to take to the various state assembly the laws that will enable Amotekun to operate in their various states. So it was not just easy for the governors to wake up and pronounce the establishment of these security organizations. So the law would dictate the limit of the power of these security organizations, the state police, the federal, as the case may be, when established. So it is not going to be an institution that will operate on the wishes or aspiration of the governor or the or whoever is in authority, like people are be skeptical about.
Okay, so let's talk about the concerns that exist about abuse of power, which is what you're talking about, and politicization of the state police. You need to try hard, very hard, to convince the average political onlooker out there that these governors will not abuse that institution. We have history replete with the governors abusing even the existing federal police structure or federal police system, using it to their political advantage, going against their opponents, political or otherwise. So make a case for that.
Well, if we are, people have raised issues about the likelihood of governors abusing the opportunity that may be available for them with the establishment of state police and sundry issues. But the truth is that there are typical examples of where this has worked all over the world. Secondly, like I said, this is going to be on the dictate of laws, not on the aspiration of one governor or the other. The truth is that today, the president and the commander-in-chief appoint the inspector general of police, who in turn appoint other cadres in the hierarchy of the police force. Does it mean that since we have lived under the federal system of federal policing system, there has not been abuse? Has that made us as citizens call for the abolition of the federal police
but
system?
Are you saying that this abuse does not exist, this risk does not exist? Or are you saying it exists?
No, there is tendency for abuse, but I don't think that will overweigh the essence of the creation, which is primarily, the protection of lives and property of citizens. Most times, police become tools in the hand of governors, and if the primary objective of advocating for state police is not because we are interested in what governors will likely use them for during elections and for political purposes. But I think majorly we should be interested in how we can, even when established, enforce and ensure that they are used in the right. Of course, today, Nigerians have advocated a lot of reforms in the federal policing system. Nigerians have challenged a lot of anomalies, by the federal police. Nigerians have ensured that a lot of policemen are punished for atrocities committed. So Nigerians are going to be doing the same thing if state police are going out of their way in the line of their duties. So I don't think we should be looking at the possible negative tendencies that may arise from the creation of these federal
right.
policing system.
All right.
But rather, we should be more interested in, the positive, the
All right.
gains that will come out of the,
But we
establishment of state police, especially
Femi, we can't
that is so
ignore the
challenged at
but
this time.
we can't ignore the risk because they are real. Nigerians do not want to jump from frying pan to fire. So I want you to focus on this. Since you're saying these risks exist of abuse of power by the state governors, a politicization of the state police by the governors, how can these risks be mitigated? What measures do we need to put in place to ensure that we reduce the abuse to the barest minimum?
Well, reducing the abuse will not be done by government, just like every other anomalies that have been created by successive administration in Nigeria are not usually corrected by the government. The citizens have a role to play. We cannot take away the role of the citizens in demanding for reforms through the law and advocacies that are available today. A lot of states in Nigeria are not conducting elections because the state electoral commissions are in the pockets of the governors. The federal, it controls the INEC. But have we asked that we don't conduct elections because some Nigerians are not comfortable with the activities of INEC? Or have we stopped conducting elections because states are in control of the State Independent Electoral Commission? You see, every system will come with its own challenge. But the most important thing is our role as the civil society, as citizens, as media, in challenging whatever negativity may arise from the establishment of a system. There is no perfect system that will jump from heaven into any society. We will not create state police, just like any other institution, and expect a perfect order. There will be bad elements, there will be bad characters that will emerge from the system, no matter how beautifully created. But what is most important thing is that we must be ready as citizens to serve as watchdogs, to correct whatever anomalies arises, from the operation of these organizations. So for me, I think we should be less interested in whatever negative tendency may arise and look at what benefits do we stand to derive from the establishment of state police. And like I said, with the media, with the citizens, with the civil society, challenging whatever anomalies may arise from the operation or the establishment of the state policing system, I'm sure we can correct a lot of this and actually get the benefit and the essence of creating this system.
Okay. So I was asking for the structure, how it's going to work, because of the national framework that Nigeria has. The states we're all interconnected as a country. Will the creation of this state police, create challenges with oversight from the federal government, and also challenges as far as national security coordination is concerned?
It is not. Like I said, it's a creation of the law. In America, you have the various state police department, you have the federal, police, the FBI, and in fact, you have police in the counties. So this of course, which we are trying to establish as community police here. So for me, if institutions are created by law, not by declarations, you understand, maybe by fiat, by governors, or by whoever the authorities, such institutions are going to be guided in their operations by the laws establishing them. It is not going to be a proclamation by the governors. They have to go through the dictates of the National Assembly, the laws. The states, various states will also make enabling acts to, of course, back up the activities of such institutions. And by so doing, I think we have enough operational manual, we have enough guide, we have enough templates for these institutions to work. And that will be enough manual also for us as citizens to challenge whatever anomaly we are experiencing in the activities of the institutions like the state police.
Some observers, commentators have said there is nothing really like federal police. That this police we are seeing, the Nigeria police force of today, is not a federal police. That the people who make the decisions regarding the police, we have what we call, if I'm not mistaken, the National Police Council, or some sort of National Security Council, or some sort of council where all
there's a National Police Council, yes.
Police Council, where all the governors of the states,
president
and the president sit down to take decisions regarding the police, and that they can do that. It is not the president alone, and that National Police Council had not sat for some years. So what do you say to that?
But it's because, such, institutions are most times subjected to the wishes and aspirations of the president. Because if you look at the constitution of such councils, just like even the Police Service Commission and other, institutions governing the various security agencies, they operate on the dictate of the president. Even the Council of State, that is supposed to be a very important, national institution, only sits whenever the president so wishes. But the governors, whether being on the board of the National Security Council or not, do not really have power, because the commander-in-chief remains the president. He sits in chair in every of those meetings. And the reality is that, can any governor in Nigeria actually challenge the power of the president in the current circumstances that we have faced over the couple of years, especially during this time? So that is why we must begin to look at how we can decentralize some of these powers that are concentrated in the hand of the president, to the extent that a governor does not need to go to Abuja because there is an attack on his citizens in Ikole Ekiti. A governor does not need to go to Abuja because citizens are attacked in a part of Cross River State. The governor should be able to sit with his state security council and take decisions.
But the governor can equally coordinate police activities. And really, actually, if you look at all these places like all the countries you mentioned, the police are meant to act even without the governor telling them. I wonder why you have the president, after some people are killed, lots of people are killed, maybe in Plateau State, the president say he's ordering the police to go after the perpetrators of that sadly act in court. And I'm saying, why does the president need to ask them to go after?
The governors do not have power. In actual fact, what you call the State Security Council meeting are just, a mere gathering for, tea and coffee. Because in every State Security Council meeting where you have the Commissioner of Police, the GOC, and whatever you call them, the governor cannot give directives. Even when the governor so do, they have to refer to Abuja before they can carry out such directives.
But that is an aberration. That is an aberration. Because it was Femi Falana, sir. Sorry, Mr. Lawson. Yeah, Mr. Lawson. It was Femi Falana in 2018 who said that he was lamenting the fact that the governors had allowed the federal government to usurp the powers of the police. And he is talking about ignorance and incompetence and arrogance, in Nigeria. He said that Nigeria is largely ruled by ignorance, incompetence, and arrogance. People are not aware. And he says that the 1999 Constitution is very clear. He's quoting Section 214. This is in 2018 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, where the Constitution provides that the president cannot appoint or remove the Inspector General of Police without seeking the advice of the Nigeria Police Council. That's just one example.
But in this case, the president have assumed the power to summarily, remove and appoint an Inspector General of Police. And like I said, which council? A council that cannot sit without a summon by the president. Is that the same council that the president will wait for to appoint an Inspector General of Police? These are part of the abuse and the aberrations in our Constitution. And until the Constitution is amended to reflect a true federal structure, which gives the powers belonging to the state, and clearly spell out the powers belonging to the federal government, we'll continue to have such usurpation of power like we currently have under this system that make the president look like a principal who appoints supervisors in governors across the state. And that is why these governors will keep going to Abuja when there are incidences that should ordinarily be locally addressed in their states. So these are issues that has to do with our law. Even a lot of people in positions today, including the governors, are not conversant with the dictates of the law, governing the country and their states. A lot of them have reduced the position of governors to something that looks like they are appointees of the president, especially when they have the same political parties.
All right.
And that is why I think it's important that we continue to demand for a review of our Constitution, restructuring of the system to the extent that each constituent body can realize its power and operate on the basis of this power as assigned to by the Constitution.
All right, Mr. Lawson, we'll be right back after this break. And for those of you watching, please stay with us. When we come back from this break, we continue with this conversation. Welcome back. We're still looking at the call by the Lagos State House of Assembly on the Nigerian National Assembly to amend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 1999 as amended to include state police. And of course, the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly is Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa. He was the one who championed and made the move to create the Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Corps or Watch. Now, he's saying that the National Assembly ought not to wait till the end of its tenure, this current National Assembly, before moving for such an amendment. And of course, the Lagos State House of Assembly is citing the rising insecurity in Nigeria, which include different crimes like kidnapping. Our guest this evening, of course, we've had Femi Lawson, who joined us earlier via video link, giving us his expert opinion as always. We also joined by G.D. Johnson. He's a senior lecturer at the Nigeria Institute of Journalism. Mr. Johnson, thank you so very kindly for your time. Good evening.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me, Kofi.
All right. Before we went on the break, your counterpart on the program, Mr. Olufemi Lawson, who is the Executive Director, Center for Public Accountability, was sharing his thoughts on the argument that, and by the learned senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, and he made it making these arguments for years. I started one interview he granted the cable in 2018, where he said Nigerians are ruled by ignorance and so on and so forth, saying that the governors themselves have the power to determine who becomes the Inspector General of Police. But what we see is the president just appoints who he wants to appoint, without recourse to the Nigeria Police Council. And I want to read, before I come to you, J.D. Johnson, Section 214 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It says, and I quote, there shall be a police force for Nigeria, which shall be known as the Nigeria Police Force. And subject to the provisions of this section, no other police force shall be established for the Federation or any part thereof. Sub 2 says, subject to the provisions of this Constitution, the Nigerian Police Force, A, shall be organized and administered in accordance with provisions as may be prescribed by an act of the National Assembly. B, the members of the Nigeria Police Force shall have such powers and duties as may be conferred upon them by law. C, the National Assembly shall make provisions for branches of the Nigeria Police Force forming part of the armed forces of the Federation or for the protection of harbors, waterways, etc., etc., etc. It says, and this is what I'm going to, please permit me, sir. 215 sub 1A says, there shall be an Inspector General of the Police who, subject to Section 216 sub 2 of this Constitution, shall be appointed by the President on the advice of the Nigeria Police Council from among 7 members of the Nigeria Police Force. I don't see anywhere here, and I stand to be corrected, where it says the President shall be, the one appointed. So do you agree that the governors can equally operate the federal police, not just the president?
Well, you read the Constitution, and I was listening to when Mr. Lawson was making his submission with respect to the contraptions and the contradictions we have in 1999 Constitution. Because you see, in 1999 Constitution, you see express provision in one section, and then you see a subsection or another section contradicting what has already been provided for in the previous section. As far as I'm concerned, there's a need for us to have a national conversation. A national conversation moving forward with respect to what type of policing do we want to have? Do we want to have this centralized policing that is not actually working? Or do we want to have a decentralized policing that is in tandem with the federal system of government we operate, that is in tandem with the complexity and the diversity of the nation we call Nigeria? And I think that's the conversation we should have. It's very, very clear that the Inspector General of Police cannot superintend over 36 police commissioners plus the one in Abuja. And then before any one of them could act on any issue, they had to report through the AIGs that are for their respective zones. The AIG will have to report to the DIGs. The DIGs will now get to, there's too much bureaucracy in terms of policing.
Yeah,
and when it comes to policing, the best form of policing is community policing.
Okay.
So as far as I'm concerned, there's a need for us to have that conversation, and there's a need for us to have that constitutional review, whereby each state should be able to have its own.
But J.D. Johnson, this community policing, J.D. Johnson, even the Nigeria Police Force has a community policing wing. You know, they've even recruited some people. I just want to go over it again. Section 216, sub 3, says there shall be, it says, okay, section 216, sub 2, says the Nigerian Police Force shall under the command, no, sub 3, I'm sorry, gentlemen. The president or such other minister of the government or the federation, as he may authorize, that's the minister, in that behalf, may give to the Inspector General of Police such lawful directions with respect to the maintenance and security of public safety and public order as he may consider necessary. And the IGP shall comply with the directions or cause them to be complied with. That's from the president. Now, sub 4 says, subject to the provisions of this section, the governor of a state or such commissioner as the governor of the state as he may authorize in that behalf may give the commissioner of police of that state lawful directions with respect to the maintenance and securing of public safety and public order within the state as he may consider necessary. And the commissioner of police shall, not may, shall comply with those directions or cause them to be complied with. So what else are we looking for? The governors have the power. J.D. Johnson. J.D., are you there?
The governors, well, you've read it. You've read the provisions, which has given the hierarchical structure and the command structure. Now, if the governor gives a directive and a minister gives a counter directive, or a president gives a counter directive, in military and paramilitary circle, which order is obeyed first? So it's very clear that the final authority lies with the president or his appointed minister for police affairs. So it's very clear. The governor's power is subjugated under the authority and under the power and the line of command of the president or whoever is appointed as the Minister of Police Affairs, or whoever is appointed as the Inspector General of Police. And that's why it's very clear that the governors, you see, may, you read it, for the governor, he said the governor may.
No, it said the governor shall. It said the governor shall. It said the governor may.
The commissioner of police shall.
Shall, yes.
The governors may, and then the commissioner of police shall.
Yes.
Now, the power of the governor is based on probability. There's no certainty. There's no authority.
Even for the president, it says the president may. It's up to you if you so wish. Even the president, it says so as well. But the doing, if he gives that directive, it shall.
That is in consulting. That's in consulting with the police affairs in terms of appointment. So the president, in his own wisdom, might not consult, and you have seen that. And that was one of the first questions you asked Mr. Lawson, that the president might not even consult the police service commission in appointing the Inspector General of Police. And I think he explained it appropriately, that where is even the police service commission, which is even appointed by the president in the first instance.
The Nigeria Police Council. Okay, J.D. Johnson, please hold the thought. We'll come to you back to you and Femi Lawson after this break, because we want to analyze and compare where we have the state policing, how it's going to run versus what we have right now. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Still other debate as to whether Nigeria really does need state policing, following the call from various quarters, including from the Lagos State House of Assembly, for the creation of state policing. It's all a matter of the amendment of the Nigerian Constitution, or the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. We have a guest tonight on the program, Olufemi Lawson. Olufemi Lawson is, of course, the Executive Director, Center for Public Accountability. And Jide Johnson is a senior lecturer at the Nigeria Institute of Journalism. Gentlemen, it's good to have you, as we earlier said. Olufemi Lawson, over to you. You're both in support of this. And we're looking at the statement from some lawyers who say, particularly Femi Falana, who have been saying for years now that the Constitution already empowers the governors of the states in Nigeria to play a role in how the police run, starting from the selection appointment of the IGP, which they've been allowing the president to do for some time now. Now, Femi Lawson, you did say that the governors themselves are not living up to their powers. It is clear from the Constitution that the governors have a right to tell the police commissioner what to do as long as it's in line with the Constitution. But when it doesn't favor them, they pass the buck and we say, oh, I don't have the power. The IGP is under the CP is under the president, which isn't true. Now, I want you to tell me, because Jide Johnson has said, yes, the Constitution gives you something with the left hand and takes it away with the right hand. We can see in section 215, subsection 4, there's a proviso when it says the governor may give the CP directives and the CP shall comply with those directives. It says, provided that before carrying out any such directions under the foregoing provisions of this subsection, the Commissioner of Police may request the matter to be referred, may request the matter to be referred to the President or such minister of the government or the Federation as may be authorized in that behalf by the President for his directions. Now, if we have state police, Olufemi Lawson, will this state police, let's say in Lagos State now, will it run independent of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? If so, would that not amount to creating a Republic of Lagos State, an independent Republic of Lagos State, with its own armed forces that does not answer to any command and control structure in the Federation? Femi Lawson.
Oh, it doesn't work that way. You see, like Mr. JJ said, the truth is that what we call the Constitution of the Federal Republic today is an embodiment of contradictions. In one section, it is giving power. In one subsection, it is taking the power. And this is not even on policing matter. In a lot of issues that has to do with what we call federalism in Nigeria today, the Constitution itself is an embodiment, because this is not even a making of the Nigerian people. So you could see a document that is full of contradictions that we call the Constitution today. And that is why in one section, the Constitution is giving a specific power. And when we talk about policing, security, it's not a Boy Scout thing. It's not about governor giving order and giving directive. Effective policing system also includes the power of the state to procure equipment, arms and ammunition, despite all the dictates, all the so-called power given today to the governors in those sections of the Constitution. There is no governor in Nigeria today that can procure for use an automatic rifle without the approval of the National Security Advisor. Not just approval to, in fact, if such ammunitions are procured.
Femi Lawson, I just want to ask you, very, very quickly, just say, so are you saying if we have state police, that governors will just import any kind of weapon they want to import without clearance?
They will have power
and documentation.
When we talk about policing, it's not exclusively about handing over the national security architecture. Today, no state controls the U.S. military. It is exclusively by the central government, just like every other truly working federal system. The question of national security, border control, and all others will remain exclusively in the hands of the federal government. But the Constitution must empower this. You see, policing has to do more with local protection of citizens.
Okay, Femi Lawson, we're out of time. Yes, we're out of time. I just want to quickly allow Jide Johnson add to what you said. Jide Johnson, are we saying that, create a state policing that will not answer to anyone? You can buy weapons, do what you want, furnish the weapons. Nobody can take records, keep records. You act independently. Are we not creating republics within Nigeria?
The police, let the state have control, let the local government have control. That's what we are saying.
But who do they answer to? Do they not? Are they not responsible, or do they not answer to someone else at the federal level?
Listen, let the Department of State Security be the central policing system. Now, that talks about jurisdiction. Any issue with local jurisdiction, states with the local government. Any issue with state jurisdiction, states with the state government. Any issue with national jurisdiction comes with the DSS. Now, what we have in the DSS in Nigeria is what you have in the FBI in United States of America. Now, we have the DSS, the Department of State Security, whereas constitutionally there's nothing like that. It is the SSS, it is the State Department, State Security Services. And then we still have the police. What we are saying is to decentralize this and allow the DSS to metamorphose into the federal police and operate like the way the FBI operate in the United States of America. And the states, we have the state troopers. Let's look at the United States model and use that model. And then the local councils, we have sheriffs. Just like you have the local state police department, like you have in the United States of America. And that's when we can deal with the issue of security. You can't bring somebody from Sokoto to come and be the DPO in Lagos State.
All right. Jide Johnson, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want to thank both of you gentlemen for your time. Jide Johnson and Olufemi Lawson. It's been a pleasure having both of you. This conversation will definitely continue. We hope to have you some other time. That's the size of our package. Tonight on Politics HQ, we return tomorrow with more conversations on the pressing issues in Nigeria politics. My name is Kofi Bratels. Have a good night.